showcase the leadership Kenya has achieved here in Kenya, in Africa, and in the whole world, using our own internal resources, but also with the support of our partners. Climate change does not discriminate tribe, doesn't discriminate political affiliations. All of us are in this together as a world. And of course, communities such as ours, economies such as ours in Africa are more vulnerable. And that is a difference between the impacts here and the impacts in more developed jurisdictions. So we must work together in terms of support, in terms of resources, in terms of technology development and transfer, in terms of capacity building, instead of spending so much time on who is responsible. And that is important in itself, but really we must move forward. The last point, and I would urge that at some point during the program, if my ministry, the PS, and those who are present can be given an opportunity during the breakout groups to speak about the 2 billion tree fund that His Excellency announced in Glasgow, which is an initiative between my ministry, Treasury, and the UNDP and the UN fraternity, because it is a significant facility, a mechanism towards mobilizing resources, so, but not here, maybe in Outback. And also speak to you about the program we have establishing seed centers in the regions and sub-regions, and working with the county governments also to establish county model tree nurseries and going big on bamboo. And finally, we are in the electioneering period. The next couple of months we'll go into elections. Our president has, since he assumed office, achieved tremendous milestone in the fight against climate change. What I have been waiting to hear, and although I know, of course, the campaigns have not yet started in earnest, well, of course, but I think it is important that we mainstream climate change and environment in our political discourse. And I know some of you, maybe many of you here, are aspirants in the next elections. We have had a lot of theories and principles being espoused by some. I am yet to hear anything at all on what is it that you propose, and I hear the Right Honorable Prime Minister and your party, and so two others. Where is your manifesto? Where does climate change, which is the most serious threat to humanity and the planet, where does it fall in your manifesto? Or do we risk now, because of the political transition, losing the gains that our president, and they have been spoken to, and I don't need to repeat them because they are there to be seen, they have been seen globally. What happens next post-August 2022? That is important. Now finally, you heard about a girl called Greta Thunberg, who mobilized the youth, the kids, such as Amina. We messed up with nature, we have messed up with their lives, their future. And she, watching what was happening, actually participating in Glasgow, said, there's a lot of blah, 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 blah. Too much talk here, too much speeches, too many speeches, but no action. I hope and I believe, because I know and I have interacted with a number of your governors, I hope that this conference does not become another blah, 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 blah. I thank you.
I think there was a bit of climate politics there. And it is a reality. There is also climate politics, especially at the international level. Now, I would like to call Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Devolution, Honorable Charles Keter, to also give his remarks.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, my colleague ministers led by our chair, NDICC, Fred Matiang'i. Also with us is Monica Juma, Energy, Cho Mujeru, ICT, and Eugene Wamalwa, Defense, whom I really want to thank him because he's the one who has been the co-chair. I'm just harvesting where I never invested. So I really want to thank Eugene. Excellencies, governors who are here, led by the Chair, Council of Governors, Honorable Wambora, the Speaker of the Senate, Ken Lusaka, the senators, distinguished senators, and members of Parliament who are here, Excellencies, ambassadors, and development partners and private sector, invited guests, good afternoon. I don't want also to forget the team in the Ministry of Devolution, led by my CS, Gideon Mungaro, who is here with us. Thank you so much, Gideon. And also the Principal Secretary, Julius Korir. Thank you so much. And the other team who are here. I want to start by saying it's my great honor to attend this occasion of the 7th and the final Annual Devolution Conference here at Makueni Boys High School, Makueni County. This 4-day conference brings together all stakeholders in the devolution space to evaluate the performances of both levels of government on matters of policy, legislation, accountability, good governance, and service delivery to the public. Significantly, this conference marks the 9 years of devolution dispensation, a decade during which structures, institutions, legislations, and laws which have come to define devolution in the country have been initiated, established, nurtured to the divine devolution in the country have been, nurtured to the current state. The challenges that we have encountered have taught us lessons which we will define the devolution story as we move into the second decade of county governments. The British Industrial Strategy Council, in their observation of implementing devolution, said, and I quote, "Devolution is a process and not an event. It requires a staged implementation with room to innovate, test, improve, and adapt." The theme of this year's annual conference is a multi-level governance for climate change. In choosing this theme, if I may not wrong, Kenya becomes the first country to hold a subnational conference on climate change just 2 weeks after the Glasgow meeting. Indeed, climate change poses a critical threat to future development, as elaborated by my earlier speakers, particularly in developing countries where food security, water scarcity, urban poverty, high unemployment, increased industrialization activities, and low access to quality healthcare are key matters of concern. I want to say the ministry has continually supported implementation of devolution and devolved system through various programs. Just to name the two, the KDSP, that is the Kenya Devolution Support Program, the Instrument for Devolution Advice and Support, which some of the counties have benefited on those two programs. To support the legal and policy framework for better functioning of counties, I want to say the ministry is currently undertaking a review of the Intergovernmental Relation Act of 2012 and the County Government Act of 2012 to respond to emerging issues since the beginning of devolution. Regulations for the two mentioned legislations are currently undergoing validation. The ministry has also developed the Intergovernmental Alternative Dispute Resolution Regulations that will guide the resolutions of intergovernmental dispute in an amicable manner. The ministry has also developed the Intergovernmental Forum Regulations, which provide the establishment of the structures and operations of the intergovernmental sector forums. These regulations are aimed at facilitating operations and coordination among the two levels of government at the sector level. In conclusion, I expect that both levels of government represented here today, development partners, and other stakeholders will use this forum to deliberate on issues and come up with recommendations that will enrich the implementation of devolution as it ushers in its second decade. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
I was a bit afraid of standing near the Minister for Devolution so that Makueni doesn't suffer, but he has been brief. Now it's my pleasure to ask the Speaker of Senate, Right Honorable Senator Kenneth Lusaka, to address us. We will be addressed later by Dr. Kevin Kariuki in another session so that we give him good time. And Lady Justice Martha Koome will be with us tomorrow. Karibu, Senator Speaker Kenneth Lusaka.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, allow me to adopt the protocols as observed by my predecessor speakers in the interest of time, and right away ask the honorable senators to come forward so that I quickly introduce them. Please. Okay. We have Senator Professor Margaret Kamar. Can you lift your hand so that people... Senator Samuel Bogisho, who is also leader of majority. Senator James Agri Orengo, I think he stepped out, leader of minority. Senator Beatrice Kwamboka, MP. Senator Naomi Shionga, MP. Senator Dr. Ali Abdullahi, MP. Senator Boy Issa, MP. Senator Faki Mwinyihaj, MP. Senator Dr. Alice Milgo, MP. Senator Isaac Ngugi, MP. Senator Anwar Loitiptip, MP, he was here. Senator Kavindo Mudhama, MP. Senator Mtula Kilonzo Jr., MP. Senator Naomi Wako, MP. Senator Professor Samson Ongeri, MP. Senator Moses Kajwang, MP. Senator Sylvia Kasanga, MP. For your information, we have quorum. We only need 15. And there are 17, so we can transact business. Senator Wario from Tana River, thank you so much for coming. Allow me to give them a clap. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to join all of you today for this great conversation, being the last annual one, and also the last before the next election. This conference has become an important one for the institutions implementing devolution to have candid conversations and remind ourselves of the immense responsibility placed upon us, that of anchoring our devolved system of government. Climate change is disrupting national economies and affecting lives. So we see weather patterns are changing, sea levels are rising, and weather events are becoming more extreme. Thus, Sustainable Development Goal 13 implores all of us to take action to mitigate the effect of climate change. It is my sincere belief that the conversations we have here in the next 3 days will enable us to agree on the attainment of optimum levels for dealing with climate change and arrive at the critical decision of whether we will fit the scale of the problem with the weight of the problem, or whether we will have a proactive approach in anticipation. The challenge remains that there is no objective way to determine the appropriate level of climate change or other environmental problems, since such problems manifest themselves at a number of levels simultaneously. So the multi-level approach therefore remains the best bet for managing these. Honorable delegates, we are duty-bound to take deliberate interventions and find a place for climate action in our respective devolved units if we have to be sure of handing over our county down to the next generations. It is time for county governments and all other players to audit our action plans for the past 8 years and critique ourselves with a view of finding out whether our contribution to the environment and climate change has been positive or negative. To quote Alexandria Ocasio, I quote, "We don't have time to sit on our hands as our planet burns. For young people, climate change is bigger than election or re-election. It's either life or death." As Kenya gears herself for the final lap towards actualizing Vision 2030, it should not be lost on us that there shall not be any industrial, social, political, and economic gains to celebrate if we will not have concrete corresponding climate action plans. We must not think that about the next steps, but also about the next generation. The new climate economy clearly shows that only bold actions can and will deliver at least 26 trillion pounds in global economic benefits between now and 2030. It could also generate over 65 million new carbon jobs by 2030 and over 700,000 premature deaths from air pollution compared with the business as usual, and generate an estimated $2.8 trillion in government revenues in 2030 through subsidy reform and carbon pricing alone. This is according to the Global Commission on the Economy and Climate. So going forward, it will be gratifying to see county governments return a shilling on every dollar to go towards climate change actions. It is unfortunate that in the past, world economies competed for space in the industrial age without due regard to the impact of their actions on the global climate. Today, the same countries have to return more of their gains to attempt to rectify their initial omissions. Let us not allow our country and region to get to that undesirable situation, since as an African economy, we are already overburdened by the sins of others as far as climate change is concerned. Honorable delegates, the advanced human activities have not spared the marine life either, knowing very well that Kenya benefits more on marine life both from coastal and mainland lakes. It is saddening to note that according to recent research, climate change is already impacting marine species diversity distribution along the equator where Kenya lies, and is greatly attributed to rising temperatures and waning of water bodies. This phenomenon continues to manifest itself in the steady rise of water levels in our inland lakes such as Nakuru and Naivasha. We have witnessed death of fish in Lake Victoria and extreme rise of water temperatures in Lake Turkana. If as a nation and region will not work together to rescue our environment through clear and smart climate actions, then we must be ready to carry the curse of that will befall our generations. Now is the time for the national and county governments to become partners to implement a national climate action plan. Internationally, the Paris Agreement recognizes that local and regional governments have an important role to play in global climate action. It is time to take this recognition a step further and craft policies and implementation strategies that are most effective on the ground, that take into account the roles and mandates of levels of government to enable action. Further, we must, as a country, move swiftly from rule-making to implementation and work to strengthen our climate pledges as requested by the COP26 text. As a Senate, we undertake to lead the necessary consultations to ensure uniformity of focus on any legislative amendments necessary to ensuring that the county assemblies support the county executives to implement the requisite laws. As I conclude, I call upon every citizen to start thinking about sustainable contributions we can individually make towards sustainable climate actions as a way of protecting the life of our future generations. So I leave you with the words of the former President Barack Obama, who who says we are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change and the last generation who can do something about it. I just want to thank the Senate for its contribution. I think in many years since this conference, this year Senate has contributed immensely towards what you are seeing in this particular hall. So I really want to thank the Senate and pledge that even in future we shall continue contributing more, because we are one family of devolution. May God bless you as you continue with your deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, Senate, and I want to recognize Honorable Florence Mwangangi, Speaker Machakos and Vice Chair of CAF, and all speakers from our 47 counties. Now, I would like to call our chair, Governor Martin Wambora, who will make remarks on behalf of COG, and then invite CS Dr. Fred Matiang, who will handle the high-level segment. And I warn you, Dr. Matiang is more strict than myself.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, who is with us virtually, the Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, Waziri Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Right Honorable Senator Kennedy Rusaka, Speaker of the Senate, my colleague, Excellency Governors, Honorable Members of Parliament, including the Senate, of course, leaders of Makueni County and the Greater Eastern Region, our host, Ambassador Ore Thonke, Chair of the Devolution Donor Working Group, Principal Secretaries, Heads of Missions, members of the County Assembly, other national government representatives, other county government representatives, private sector and civil society representatives, international delegates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Council of Governors, I take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency the President, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, to the 7th Annual Devolution Conference. To all of you, distinguished guests who have honored us with your presence here today, Karibuni. This year we meet again as devolution partners to affirm the role and place of the county government and the devolved governance in this country's development and constitutional governance. More importantly, this year's conference theme, multi-level governance for climate action, underpins a crucial and necessary aspect of national and county governance that is deeply relevant in Kenya, in the region, and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that the content and discussions of this year's conference will assist in developing an overall plan on strategic intervention that county governments and indeed the national government need to adapt in order to caution their constituents against the impact of changing climate. I'm personally delighted that this conference is coming right after the close of COP26 discussions, meaning that as subnational government, we have an opportunity to align our climate action interests to the commitments of the just concluded Glasgow conference. I would like to recognize at this juncture the hard work of the members of the 7th Devolution Conference Steering Committee, which comprises of my Vice Chair in the Council of Governors, who has had very able leadership as a co-chair, along with the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Devolution, the Honorable Rose Nyamunga, who represented the Senate in the committee, Honorable Secretary General of the County Assemblies Forum, who represented CAF. Recognition is also due to the Planning Committee and all the other institutions represented here who took time to plan and to prepare for the conference. Asanteni sana. I would also like to recognize the presence of our international guests who are joining us from different parts of the world for the first time. We really appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now slightly over a decade since the country adopted the current constitution, which introduced fundamental changes to the governance process and structure. At the heart of these changes is the devolved system of government, which comprises of 47 county governments in addition to the national government. Since March 2013, when the first county governments were ushered in, the country has witnessed substantial progress in terms of achievement of the constitutional goals and objectives that have guided devolution. Indeed, for the last 8 years of their existence, county governments have grown to become the primary providers in local service delivery and development. Essential and key services under the purview of the county government, but not all: health, water sanitation, roads, train development and regulations, early childhood education, among other services that are relevant to the lives and livelihood of communities around the country. A more crucial contribution by the county government is the facilitation of participation and consultation of the people in the county governance processes. This has ensured a pursuit of democratically agreed priorities